it's Jamie. Have you heard the story of the river? The thought process is like this: the river is there, and it doesn't spend time worrying about where it came from or feeling guilty about where it came from. And it also doesn't stress about where it's going to and worry, that it should go someplace different. It doesn't invest any energy in that at all. The river just is, and it just goes with the flow. So here's why I like that analogy, and here's why I dislike that analogy. I like the powerful thought of being here and now and being in the present and just being, going with the flow, being flexible, being adaptable, being open to change, not wrapping yourself up in worry of what are other people going to think about you, not worrying about what I look like on this video, whether my hair is good, whether my chin looks funny, teeth look funny, all those things that I could get hung up about. I'm not 20 years old and I'm not perfect, but I'm talking to you anyway. So I do like the thought of thinking that we can be in the here and the now and not use the precious resource of energy that we have in getting uptight about things that we have no control over. The past is past, the future hasn't happened yet. Now here's where I disagree with it, that last bit about the future hasn't happened yet. I feel as if we've gotten very wrapped up into short-term thinking and short-term planning, that understandably so many of us are overwhelmed. We live paycheck to paycheck. We're wrapped up in what the kids are doing, what's happening at the workplace, all those different things that are immediate and in our face and demanding attention today. And so we get wrapped up in today and kind of, well, how the hell am I supposed to deal with tomorrow? I can't even deal with today. That's wrong-headed, in my opinion, said with all sorts of love, having been there myself. But here's why it's wrong-headed. I have worked with a whole bunch of people with chronic illness, people who are elderly, people who are sick with things that aren't curable. And while they're sick with things that aren't curable, maybe some sorts of cancers can be postponed or even in some events cured, but some of them can't be, especially if you're already perhaps in your 80s. Prognosis doesn't look great because you're compromised in other ways at that point. But say a neurological disease that isn't curable, or type 1 diabetes that there is no cure for, or some of these other, awful brain cancers that there is no cure for at the moment. If we took the time today, if we're still fortunate enough to be fully healthy today, and we look at our food choices or our exercise choices or the stress levels in our lives or the toxic people we allow in our lives or the workplace that we hate with a passion and yet we're doing nothing to change our circumstances, those are things worth taking a stand over today, because we can recognize that 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, we may be in a position where we no longer have the energy or the health to change things, but we do today for that long-term planning. Likewise, finances. The amount of people that I talk to who have a price objection first and foremost. So this could be someone in their 70s who feels really stressed about the thought of investing $25 a week in their own health for some exercise and some coaching. $25, that's less than, $4 a day? If you've worked your whole entire life, or say you were the caregiver at home and somebody else worked for their whole entire lives, but that was a joint decision as a couple, if at the end of your working existence you don't have a spare $4 a day to invest in your health, I'm sorry, but I see a problem with that. And that is, in your 20s or your 30s, perhaps you could look around and make different decisions so that you can determine you won't be in that place in the future. Here's my dumb example of that, but it was a profound one for me at the time. I dropped out of college after my first year of college, and at that point I had a baby, and at that point I was living in the mountains, living in a cabin that was pretty crude, and definitely didn't have a washer and dryer. So I had to do my laundry at a laundromat. When I did my laundry at the laundromat, often I ran into a gentleman who was in his late 70s. My thought to myself when I was 18 or 19 years old was, God help me if I don't have my own washer and dryer by the time I'm in my late 70s. That's a pretty lame motivator, but it was my motivator. I didn't want to be in a position where I had to go share my underwear with a complete stranger. And I didn't want to be in a place that I didn't have control over how clean it was, or, having to put my clothes into a car or a bicycle, in my case, and get them to a laundromat and get them home again. So that was a little bit of reality check into my youth as far as long-term planning goes. The point of this whole story is, if somebody approaches you today with an opportunity that might change your financial future, no guarantees, no promises. It requires that you do the work, not only that you do the work as if it were a job in doing the activities required for prospecting and recruiting, but doing the work on you so that you can expand your consciousness, think more in the terms of long-term thinking, and expand what money means to you. Do you want an extra $15 left over at the end of the week so you can go out for a cheap dinner, or do you want an extra $1,500 at the end of the week so you got a mortgage payment, or what? Do you got kids that you want to put through college? Are you paying off your own student loans? I mean, money is simply a tool, and as you expand your awareness of it, it's a two-part story. One part is spending less, just being a little more disciplined in how you're using the money, and the other thing is earning more. I think a few years ago when we were talking about the economy as a whole, Arianna Huffington was saying, don't what was she saying? Don't scale back, build more. Think about how we can generate more revenue rather than cut so many things that are doing good work. And so I'm stumbling all over the place. Hopefully you get the point. The point is that do think long term, and if something shows up in your lap today, instead of saying, oh my God, how much does it cost? That's too much. Step back a minute and think, do I want me to have the same answer 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, that I can't afford it? Or do I want to step out on a limb today, do something that's unfamiliar and perhaps uncomfortable to me today, with the intent that 5, 10, 15 years down the road, my life will be different? So here's one last thought on that, and then I'm going to go get busy with my day and invite you to do the same with yours. And that is, if you say yes to an opportunity today and you start learning the skills of how to do that work, specifically I'm talking network marketing. Say you say yes to network marketing today and you never have before, or you've been less than successful before, but you try again with this opportunity, and all you earn is a couple $100 a week, or a couple $1,000 a month. When you do that consistently, you will have grown, you will have changed your mindset, you will have changed your habits. That puts you into a place where when the next opportunity comes along, now you already have a foundation and a base to expand yet again and grow yet again. The point is that you got started. So while you may say yes to an opportunity and hope that means you're going to be making $10,000 or $100,000 a month or more, and maybe you could indulge in being disappointed if all you made was an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month, when you do that, you have already expanded. You have already opened your mind to new possibilities, changed some of the ways that you think about long term and how you plan for long term. You've changed the people that you surround yourself, so you're not taking advice from broke, unhappy people. You're taking advice from people who are on a journey of growth and accomplishment, and frankly, they're on a mission just to make more money because they respect all the different things that money affords by way of time freedom, decision-making freedom, ability to help people that you care about, all sorts of things that money does for you. So be the river, be in the here and now. Don't worry about what other people think. But unlike the river, do have a care for what's further downstream, and take the action today. You're done. All right, bye.